Hey guys, Tom Barton from TomBartonSports.com here, and we're continuing our series previewing the college basketball season. This time it's the Big 12, and let's just be honest here, I'm going to cut right to the chase. It's the best conference in America. Yeah, that's right. Big 12 really is. It's the deepest conference in America, and it is the best conference in America. We're going to have fun talking about this and who I think is going to come out as the best team in the best conference in America. Guys, if you like this, please make sure you comment below, hit the like button, check me out at TomBartonSports.com, Tom Barton Sports over on Twitter, and TomBartonSports@gmail.com is how you can get in touch with me. So let's talk about it. Look, Baylor, looking at a national championship in their minds. Texas wants a national championship. Texas Tech thinks that they're close. And of course, Bill Self and the Jayhawks are looking for an absolute repeat. Every single team in this conference is competitive. Every single team like that could all of a sudden turn around and be in the Sweet 16. I mean, I really think that this is like the old ACC. It's by far the deepest conference in America. I think there's no question that they have a lot at the top, but it goes deep, and that really is what you're talking about, okay, well, you know what? If Kansas falters a little bit, and it's very hard to repeat in this day and age in any sport, but specifically here, well, then all of these teams could jump on top of it. Jamie Dixon at TCU, yeah, look, that's a team you can't overlook. TCU made a lot of money in March Madness last year coming down the stretch. Texas and Texas Tech, Oklahoma State, you look at all of them. Everybody, even going down to Bob Huggins in West Virginia. I mean, can you just write them off? What about K-State? I mean, things are looking up there. So we'll start there with K-State. Look, new head coach, Jerome Chang. Look, it's not going to be a good year for K-State just because they're in this conference. I get that, right? You are going small. They're going small, and they're hoping that really is what's going to be the difference maker here. For those that don't know, Tang comes over. He was at Baylor, and look at what that Baylor program has done. And it looks like a good fit for him for where he's going to be. It's not going to be a good year one, and we know that. It's going to be a smaller team. They're going to be really fast. They lost some guys through the portal, which is a problem. But I do like Keontae Johnson coming back, right? He's an all SEC player. He just hasn't played because of everything that happened and for a lot of different reasons. But that means that he's that talented to be an all SEC player, be recruited that way. I think he could be that guy and watch K-State win one or two games this year that they're not supposed to win. Iowa State, boom, all of a sudden they were a contender, right? We woke up and all of a sudden they're in the Sweet 16. I don't think that that's going to happen again here, right? But you do look at this team and you go, can we really write them off? They got the St. Bonnie's transfer, who is a huge big man. Yeah, that absolutely helps. And, you look at the transfer portal, Iowa State did pretty well overall. Iowa State's not a team that you expect to continue the success. Every now and then you could have a surprise team from a really good conference, and that seems like what this was. I don't see them going back to the Sweet 16. I don't see them being a threat in this conference. But you look at who they lost to, and you look at Miami, and Miami went on a completely ridiculous run. So I like what they're bringing back. I like that they hit the portal. That's nice. They got a kid from Ward from VCU. St. Bonnie's, I've been mentioning them a lot. They got absolutely just ripped apart in our transfer portal. But to the benefit of some of these guys, they got two guys over there. And you start to look at them and you go, okay, they have a veteran presence. They're a team that did have success last year. They have a very good head coach. I'm not looking at them to do a lot in this conference just because the conference is so thick and so deep. But yeah, they could surprise some teams. Oklahoma State's kind of the same thing. Now, Oklahoma State, people expected a lot more from them last year. I know that. And I think it took a lot of wind out of their sails when they weren't allowed to go to the postseason, right? And you don't have that this year. They are basically were a 500 team. You could see them at certain times kind of sleepwalking through things, and they did lose some players. This is a team that I know the expectations were high and they didn't come down to expectations. I think people think, well, the expectations are low, they're going to come up. I see kind of status quo here. They might not be the worst team in the conference because of K-State, but I don't see them making any huge moves here either. You do have some guys returning, and Bryce Thompson is returning, which is nice. But overall, not the best season for Oklahoma State, not in my opinion. West Virginia, same kind of thing. You got to always love Bob Huggins. You got to like what they're going to do. They're going to play that big defense. UMass big man Trey Mitchell. Yeah, okay, he's coming over. That's a pretty nice thing. And Huggins is always going to be about 500. He's 16 and 17 overall. We get that. So he's going to be about 500. He's always going to put out a good defensive team. He's going to always put out that tough out kind of thing. But when you watch Mitchell at UMass, yeah, that's the player you want, but I don't know if they're going to get that player right away. And if it takes a little time in a conference like this, you don't have a little time because of what they're doing. Porter Moser, right? Just didn't make the NCAA tournament, one of those last-minute snubs, but it still was a good year, I think you could say there. I think Oklahoma fans wanted a little bit more. And the Groves has come back with Jalen Hill. Sherfield is there. Yeah, they have quite a bit that you could look at, especially Tanner Groves. But I think that they need growth, right? They need a guy that they paid for and everybody wanted in the entire country to come in and start coaching them and coach them up and coach them up hard. I think that will be a better team, more well coached, but I don't know if they have the talent to really be one of those top 5 type of teams. They could be in that middle of the pack, surprise some teams. Maybe they barely crack the top 5, but I think 5 is about their ceiling. Texas has a lot of people backing them up. I've seen people telling me that Texas is the best team in this conference, and this is why this conference is so deep. I get it. I get what we're talking. Allen and Carr coming over, you got to be excited about. Hunter coming over, you got to be excited about. Mitchell and Morris, yeah, all of a sudden you're going, yeah, this all makes sense. And Texas, all of a sudden you're looking at a guy like Hunter coming over from Iowa State. I mean, he's coming from Iowa State, right? This is a team where Beard can really, really turn some heads if he can take this group and really make it. Look, they're talented enough, but they don't have any cohesion. And I think that keeps them outside of the real conference conversation just because the cohesion isn't there. Texas Tech brings in Mark Adams, and Mark Adams, look, they looked great last year. They really did. They finished in 3rd place, kind of where I see them again here. They were hit really bad with the portal, with people leaving, with all that was going on. But I'm going to say this. Look, I was an Oral Roberts guy when they made their magical run. I bet him not in the first round, not only in the second round. I mean, I crushed them. I love them. And while I like Osmas, and he's amazing, Kevin O'Banner came over, and I don't know, he was underwhelming, right? He was underwhelming, but I think he can really be that guy again. And that's the difference here. I think that Texas Tech got massively hurt. But if this kid can be what I saw at Oral Roberts, what I saw when we all watched, right? I think that he can be the difference maker. Now, I don't think it means a championship in this conference. No, I don't think it does. It's too tough of a conference. But can he gel in time? Can this team gel in time for another deep March Madness run? Yeah, I think so. TCU, we mentioned it at the top. They are really ready to fly. They really, I mean, they're going crazy with Mike Miles there. Everybody likes that. He's the veteran. He's going to be the stability force here. And you look at TCU, and people are buying in, right? I mean, people are buying into that. That's really what you get down to, the nitty gritty, and you say, all right, are expectations too big for this group? No, I don't think so. They have a lot of veterans on this team. No team in this conference by a pretty large margin is returning large minutes like they are. They're returning a group that I liked a lot. Mike Miles is the guy. He is the leader of this team. He is the guy that will keep the stability, keep their heads on right when everything is going, oh yeah, Aaron, they're going to be great. Look at what they did in the loss at Arizona. Look at what they did last year. Yeah, you do have some certain players, like I mentioned in that loss of Arizona, Chuck O'Bannon Jr., he's returning as well. I like this TCU team. I don't think that the hype will overcome them because they are led by veterans that I do really appreciate and I really respect. I don't see Kansas repeating either, guys. I like Kansas last year. I like them. Look, the Conference Player of the Year, they lose. They lose their Final Four MVP. Look, it's not even the losses. It's just so hard nowadays to repeat. But maybe not for a title in the Big 12, which just seems like it's always Kansas, right? They won a great title game, one of the best championship games we could see. Bill Self, again, coming back. We get it. But a lot of the last year's core is gone. Grady Dick comes in, Gatorade's National Player of the Year, so that's fantastic. And he should fit right in right away. I think Kansas is right there. I don't think they can have much of a drop-off, but there's reasons to think that there will be a drop-off. Losing their best player, maybe the best player in college basketball, yeah, that's a drop-off. Losing a majority of their minutes, yeah, that's a huge drop-off. So in another conference in America, maybe you don't drop off that much. In this conference, it's just not going to get you to the title. I have Baylor winning it all here. Look, I thought they were going to come down last year. I thought Baylor was going to have that secondary year where you come all the way back, and they don't. They're returning Cryer, they're returning Flagler. Scott Drew gives them, the opportunity to kind of do anything they want out there. I'm massively impressed with this team. I mean, I really am. They lost only 4 games in conference play, and they seem to go out there all the time and play their best basketball when they're playing the best teams. That right there shows me that's pure coaching. I like it. Look, I really like it. They did lose a lot, and we get it, right? They lost a lot. But again, unlike Kansas that lost a lot and they lost kind of their best player and they lost everything that they are, they do return enough for me that you go, okay, that makes sense. Thamba, Cryer, Flagler, who I mentioned, they're all back. So you have a basis here. I also think that they will have maybe the best defense in the country coming back. So I have Baylor by a nose. Not that I'm putting money on it, but I have Baylor by a nose. I think Kansas is going to be right there. I am buying the TCU hype. I think Texas is going to be right there as well, guys. This is the best conference in America for a reason. I continue to keep saying that because I expect 7, 8 of these teams to get into March Madness, and we could be seeing 3 or 4 of them playing in the Elite 8. I mean, I think that's how good this conference is. So don't get mad at me, Kansas, saying that, well, you didn't pick them to win. No, I could flip a coin and go one way or the other. I'm just sticking with Baylor because I don't think that they have the amount of turnover that Kansas certainly has, and TCU is still a step behind, although, man, I think TCU is really one of those fun teams to watch. All right, guys, that's going to do it for me. Please make sure you comment below, like this channel, subscribe to the channel. Go check me out at TomBartonSports.com. Tom Barton Sports over on Twitter. Have a very good season, everybody.